Bringing us to 42 minutes after 11 p.m. Central African time. If you have just joined us, we are still in conversation with therapist and relationship coach Julliane Hoss, and she's here to shock us yet again, talking all things the fear of failure and workplace anxiety. And you ended off there with confidence is not the solution. Right? Confidence is an inward look. It's self-centered. And that's part of the problem, is that the outlook on all these three emotions, whether it's being nervous or the fear or the anxiety, is anchored or further established for the negative if it's self-centered. Let's talk about love. Right? There was a text that came in that said, Shayla, listen, love conquers all fears. Okay? If you douse love on a fear, it's gone, it's done, it's dusted. What's your take?
I think love is really, really, really powerful. And I think it's a beautiful statement. I just think that a lot of us mistake it with care or being affirmed these days. So fear of failure also creeps into relationships because a lot of us perceive it similar to work. We think it's what we do. We want to be good enough. Some people would even say my relationship or my family is the most important job I have. So the language we often use is, what can I offer them? What can I do for them? How can I be good enough for them? How can I take responsibility for my partner, for my lover? And suddenly you have a similar feeling that you have at work. I need to perform. I need to always better myself, constantly improve myself. We turn into self-improvement projects. And with that comes the fear, what if I make a mistake, even in my relationship?
Can we create a context for love in the workplace, and not the emotional connection with people who are outside the office, the relationship we have with our job? Because you said something so interesting. You said that this self-centered approach to work is part of the problem, right? You step into a meeting and you're there to prove yourself. You're not there to learn about the job. You're not there to listen to what's actually going on. How do I introduce love into that context?
For me, when we speak about love, always I enjoy giving it a definition. Because I'm always so fascinated how the words we use most frequently are the ones we understand the least.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was interested, one of my best friends gave me the book All About Love by Bell Hooks. And she tries to give it a definition. And she says, love is extending ourselves to the spiritual, holistic growth of another or ourselves. And I think if you use that definition, love always asks, how can I make a positive contribution in the spiritual, holistic growth of myself or the other? And then you don't need butterflies, which is also more being in love, but then it actually becomes an action. I show up for you. I show up for your growth. I show up for this journey. And I think that's something we can do for ourselves and for others at work every single day. And with the actual work, it can be hard to always love it. But what you can also do is just also to shift your language around it. Instead of saying, I have to do this now, I get to do this. Like I get to have a therapy session. I get a chance to guide a client. So that can already shift a lot. That you again see it as, wow, this is a contribution I'm making. And not something I'm being forced to do on a day-to-day.
Julliane, clearly there's an importance in words. How do we change our addiction? How do we change the way we speak? Because you just made an example to say, I don't have to, I get to, which is completely different. Having to feels like it's taken away from me. Get to means I have the opportunity, meaning it's a choice that I'm taking. And it's more me giving than it being taken from me. It's going to be hard to try and rectify the entire dictionary to suit this new language style that I need to approach, right? Where does one start with learning how to speak better about circumstance?
It's going to be super hard because a lot of the things we do, how we speak, and even anxiety serves a purpose. Because we choose to be miserable but safe. Because if I'm anxious and I've already made quote-unquote peace with the fact that I might fail tomorrow, at least I won't be blindsided by the risk that are coming my way or by the losses that are coming my way, or the failures that are coming my way.
Yeah.
And as miserable as I feel, it gives me a sense of control. So often to change our approach and to change our language and to say, I'm actually showing up. I'm actually trying to do my best. I'm actually trying to immerse myself in the work. I'm actually taking the risk to compliment someone without knowing if they will appreciate it. It's, if you're honest, super scary.
Yeah.
So it's safer to say, no one really cares what I say. I might fail anyway. I'm just going to try to get through another day. So that is often important first step. Ask yourself also, what will it cost you to change? And how do you prepare yourself to take that risk?
Sure. That's interesting. Julliane, let's talk about the fundamentals required for us to understand the change. Right? And I'm saying this because I'm thinking of somebody who's sitting at home right now, is listening to this conversation, realizing, oh my goodness, yes, I am anxious a lot in the office. You know, I'm fearful and I do want to change, but I need the principles to be established so that I can know what it is I'm changing. Because sometimes the problem feels so enormous. You're like, I'm immersed in it. I don't even know where the button is. I don't know how to switch things. I don't know where to start. Let's set pillars so that people can know what to focus on.
Yeah. So for me, it's a combination of self-reflection, analyzing what's going on, and self-compassion, supporting yourself through the change. And what I often like to do, especially with anxiety, is to really unpack it. What is your body saying? What is happening emotionally? What is happening in your thoughts? And how does that show up in your actions or your behavior? And then you can write down what you're currently observing. That's the self-reflection, the analysis. And then you can unpack, how do I want this to change? So, for example, physically, you would then notice like a lot of people sit with their shoulders tense at work.
Yeah.
So a first change can be every now and then remind yourself to relax your body, because remember, if you breathe shallow, if you have tension in your body is telling your mind that you are stressed.
Sure.
So nothing else will work. Emotionally, for example, you can see that I'm forever anxious, I'm forever scared. Is there some other emotion that I'm also feeling? Maybe some hope, maybe some excitement, maybe some love or connection to the people I work with. Can I tap more into that?
Yeah.
Then the thoughts, what if something goes wrong? What if I get caught tomorrow? What if I'm not good enough? And changing to those thoughts to, how can I focus on work again? How can I focus on others that need me? How can I focus on the growth? And then the actions, like you say, it's either procrastination or hyper compensation, preparing like throughout the whole night. And then you can say a healthy response. How much preparation is really fruitful? How long am I still working with concentration? And when am I just doing it to calm my anxiety? Because you need to learn to actually show up for work when and as long as it makes sense. And to dissect that, your body's response, emotional response, thoughts, and then your action. What's happening right now and how you want to change that. You can even do it as a simple worksheet.
Yeah. Julliane, I want to talk about, you said something really powerful. You said that sometimes we try and put a Band-Aid over this wound that's gushing and full of all kinds of liquids. All we want to do is just put a Band-Aid and deal with the anxiety now, you know, as opposed to digging deep and trying to understand what's really going on. How am I really feeling? Why is my body responding like that? When do we know that it's time to introduce a therapist? Because you think you're dealing, right? So Shayla now speaks very positively about herself. Listen, take your time. It's okay. You're going to get through this. You know, I get to do this. I get to do that. But I'm still feeling this weightiness. And every time I practice either a physical posture, you know, shrugging less or going to the gym or speaking better to myself, I feel better for some time. But I'm also then gauging myself and thinking, I don't think I really need a therapist. I want to know what the cutoff point is for someone to introduce a therapist. When do we know that we need help outside ourselves?
So I always compare it with a fitness coach or coach in the gym. But generally, when you should definitely seek support is when you are not functioning. And functioning, not just that you're not perfect, but that you're actually struggling to keep up with the demands that will allow you a stable life.
Yeah.
Then this is the definition of mental health illnesses or challenges, and then you're well advised to seek out some support, because we all go through those times when we're not functioning for a period. And I always say this is the perfect time to tap into people who still see the core and essence of who you are, and not just the challenge or the illness you're facing. Then for others, I say it's like a coach. When do we seek out the fitness coach in the gym? First scenario, you're injured, and you either still recovering from the injury or you're preventing the next injury. That's the same with a therapist. When you have a mental health challenge, or when you're still recovering from one, or you want to prevent the next outbreak, then it's a beautiful reason to go to therapy. But often we also go to a fitness coach because we have set a new goal. We have set a new goal for growth or an objective. And then a therapist can also help. So I encourage people, don't just come when you have a massive challenge. Come for your growth and for your healing. And that really saddens me, that a lot of people think the only justification to ask for help is if you're not coping anymore. And I say, really? Do you think all you deserve is to function in this world? And that for me saddens me. So I would love to see more people also reaching out to a coach or a therapist to say, I have this new goal. I have this new aspiration that I'm working towards. Similar to how we do it with fitness goals.
Julliane, listen, you have come, you have conquered, and now we want to conquer. How do we get a hold of you?
Thank you. So definitely you can find me on Instagram, reflect_with_Julliane. It's just with an E at the end. That's the German version. You can also find me online, reflectwithjulliane.com, and all my contact details are there as well.
Thank you so much for joining us, Julliane. You've given us much to ponder on, and we can't wait to see you in, I suppose, the second Monday from now, right?
I can't wait either.
Awesome sauce. The voice of Julliane Hoss joining us this evening. She is a relationship coach and therapist. Listen, if you were thinking to yourself, Shayla, what did I just witness? Or maybe you caught the tail end of the conversation. Or maybe you walked in when we were saying goodbye. Go back to YouTube under the video section. This conversation with Julliane Hoss. It is a twofold conversation: the fear of failure and workplace anxiety. It is 6 minutes before the show comes to an end.
African Diaries, weekdays, 10 till midnight.